Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast Wrestling Edition. You know, it's that 2 week mark, so it's up to me and our wrestling expert, Jacob Mason, to catch you guys up on what's been going on in the wrestling world. First off, Jacob, how you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic. Excited to talk wrestling. Not have to worry about politics for once.
Mhm.
So it'll be a nice little change up.
I agree. At the time of recording right now, the election's still going on. So we're going to give you guys a safe space to just come on in, listen to us talk about some wrestling, some good, some bad, and some awful. Jacob, where do you want to start today, man?
Uh, well, we always have to save Lana for last, so I say we kick this off with Halloween Havoc.
We have my best friend Lana. But yeah, Halloween Havoc just happened last week on Wednesday. It was a success. It was another rare win for NXT beating AEW in the ratings. There was a title change on there. Johnny Gargano winning the North American Championship. I did not see that happening because I thought on previous podcasts, if Johnny won, I thought Candice would win, but she did not win. So, Jacob, what did you think of Halloween Havoc?
I loved Halloween Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took NXT to bring back a legendary pay-per-view for them to be AEW in the ratings. But man, did it frickin' pay off. I thoroughly enjoyed this pay-per-view.
I did as well. I think it was very well designed. The matches were good. At first, I thought Halloween Havoc was going to be Halloween Saturday or a takeover type pay per view thing, but it was just on Wednesday. So I found that a little interesting. I thought it could have been on literally Halloween Day, and that would have been cooler. But Johnny winning that title, like it?
Oh yeah, I like it. I've said in the past, like I'm a big fan of all the heels. Yeah, I was very happy with that. I love the ending of the match
Mm-hmm.
with Johnny getting the assist from the mystery man
Mm-hmm.
and hitting Damian Priest with the tombstone, which took him off the. I'm not sure if it was a ramp or was it the ramp or whatever he fell off of, and fell into a quote unquote like a little shed that looked like, but he crashed hard and it looked amazing. I was a big fan of that match. There really wasn't anything I hated about it. I thought it was good.
Agreed. I can't find anything on this. I don't even know if I want to call it a pay per view, but special that I didn't like. I think they just did it very, very well. And I mean, we're just going to have to. Where do you think they go from here, though? From now, this is the first Wednesday that NXT post Halloween Havoc. Where do you think they're going now?
I have no idea with the U.S. title, with anything. I have no idea. I mean, that's going to make NXT good tonight because I imagine you're going to see a bunch of different storylines take place. I could see maybe Dexter Loomis going after the North American title. I could see that. Maybe.
Mhm.
If Finn was cleared, I'd love to see like a. Can you imagine like a Demon Balor versus Dexter Loomis?
Yeah, that would be. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But there was another big thing at NXT, which I'm shocked he's back. I thought he was a one off. Pat,
Yes.
I thought he was a one off, but it looks like I'm wrong. So Jacob, you want to tell everyone what Pat's doing back and if he's going to be in here for a long bit?
Let's see. Pat coming back. It's best for business. I think Pat McAfee is the best. This is bold statement, hot take. I guess we're just gonna kick it off right now. I think Pat McAfee is the number one heel of 2020.
Whoa.
He is the most entertaining heel that has been there and since the COVID era of wrestling.
Wow, That is a big. That's a big statement, man. We're only 5 minutes in.
I know. I know. It's throwing out the hot take already. Pat McAfee coming out is gold. He's great on the mic. I mean, if we think back to Takeover 30, when Pat faced Adam Cole, which was the best match, it was the second best match of the evening. He did such good work as a heel. He took a heel stable and made them babyface for that. He's that good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, so he's out there with Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, which I was never a huge fan of them. Like they can wrestle, but like I just could never get behind like Oney. Boy, am I behind them now. I'm very behind them with Pat as their manager, and Kyle O'Reilly comes out, and then here comes Pete Dunne,
who we have not seen since COVID started because he was stuck across the world and wasn't allowed to the U.S.
Which I have to say, I'm pretty sure all he did was run a treadmill and lift weights because he looks freaking ripped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh shit, does he look good? But he comes out, hands Kyle O'Reilly a chair. They they got all the Lorcan and Birch and McAfee out of the ring, and then Pete Dunne turns on him, hits him with the chair, and they just take him out. And then it was great. It was so entertaining. And then of course Pat McAfee taking the chair and moving it over. So when Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch hit their finisher, make sure O'Reilly hits the chair. I love that. It's so good. Like he's just pure entertainment.
I think there was a line Pat was saying during when he was going on his heelish rant, and I don't know if it was. I don't want to say it's a shot at Enzo or anything like that, but he said something like "How you doing? Keep it moving," or something like. And he kept saying that every time he gave a valid point. And I was like, "Is that his thing? The how you doing? Keep it moving? Is that a small shot at Enzo? Or am I just thinking too much into it?" But every time I heard that, I thought of Enzo.
Yeah, I mean the how you doing is that's all you think about is Enzo and Big Cass. But he's making it work. Honestly, my favorite thing he said is when after Pete Dunne hit Kyle O'Reilly with the chair, he's on the outside of the rope, so he just like points at him and just goes stupid. Mm-hmm. And like as simple as that is, just calling someone stupid, the way he did it, the way his body looked, everything about it, I was like, that's so perfect right there. Because it's such good heel shit. Oh, I loved it. I freaking loved it.
The way it's looking like it's going to be Pat's team versus Undisputed Era at War Games, if War Games is still happening.
That'd be very good.
I think that's where we're going, if it still continues like this. We're just going to have to wait and see tonight, since NXT will be airing an hour from now at time of recording. But I want to jump to the main roster. A couple weeks ago, a couple podcasts ago, I said the Rey Mysterio storyline needs to stop. They both got drafted to SmackDown, so they obviously didn't listen. And then WWE is really giving me the big finger because the storyline went to what we were afraid of last month in the whole Aaliyah Mysterio dropping the "Daddy, I love you" line and kissing Murphy in the middle of the ring. And when I tell you, I was so hot about seeing that, especially at that day. It was actually my birthday. So seeing that, trying to eat some birthday cake and almost barfing it out because I'm like, did this really just happen? This storyline's been, it's so bad that, ladies and gentlemen, when we at the end of the year have our top 10 best worst things about wrestling, I don't see anything that's not in the top. I can't see this not being in the top 3 because this is god awful terrible. And we think it's going to end. It should have ended at SummerSlam. Keeps going. What are we going to do next? Rey Mysterio's wife is going to be sleeping with Seth Rollins. Like, what are we doing here with this?
It's terrible. I it's not even edgy. I don't even, like there's nothing like, oh man, like WWE did this. Like, no way. No, it's just crap. I can't get behind it. You can't get behind it. 99% of the people who watch wrestling can't get behind it. But what's so screwed up about it is everybody is talking about it.
Yeah.
Which is why this is still going, is because everyone is talking about, like, oh man, did you see Rey Mysterio's daughter made out with Buddy Murphy? Like, son of a bitch. It sucks.
Even from a logical standpoint, I don't understand how you're kissing a guy who's literally hitting your dad or brother with kendo sticks. Like, what are we doing here? So now you're just going to get disowned from the family. You're going to be walking around as Buddy's little slam piece until, you know how WWE just gets rid of storylines and make you think they never happened. Like, they're going to carry this into 2021, which, God, I hope they don't, because there's Steph and them deserve better. It just needs to end. I hope that we get to a point where you talked about Dominic retiring Ray and maybe at WrestleMania or something like that.
Yeah.
But the way this is going, it's looking like Aaliyah's going to retire both of them and whenever she finally gets in the ring.
Is she going to get in the ring? It's like is that going to happen?
I have no idea. I mean, the way WWE does it, she'll get in the ring, maybe hit Bray with the signature ball hit her own dad in the ball so Freddie Murphy can get a win. Something stupid like that. It's just terrible. And I know there's wrestlers who don't even like this storyline. Like, why are we doing this? Why is this a segment in time? It's just so god awful.
Yeah, not good. Not good shit. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure if this is just a time filler. Like, hey, we're building to something bigger. Like when you think back to when Daniel Bryan had his big run, and in the middle of it, he got stuck in with the Wyatt family, which was just a time killer rivalry segment thing, that went on for 2 months. The problem is this has went on for, God, how many months has this storyline been going on?
Oh, so SummerSlam was August. So it was going on well before SummerSlam. You can almost say COVID era since starting, probably March till now.
Yeah, we just want it to end.
It's trash. It's not good, and we're going to get to a point too that we talk about everything in wrestling, so we try and cover everything, and this is a big deal in wrestling. But if it keeps getting more and more trash, we might have to ban it. It's banned until something happens that someone falls off a cliff.
I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that.
Yeah, it's bad. Let's go to the red brand. Randy Orton, 14-time champ, and yes, he won the title at Hell in a Cell. We didn't even hit that. He did win. And another thing that I know has Jacob really revved up now is Otis does not have the briefcase anymore.
It's bullshit.
He at Hell in a Cell to The Miz with Tucker providing the betrayal, which none of us saw coming. So now we have The Miz, who's Money in the Bank on Raw. Randy Orton, obviously the champ on Raw. Drew McIntyre, the former champ, who's entitled to his rematch. And now we have The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Alexa Bliss. Because now I think you just got to say The Fiend and Alexa because they're really on this, tagged them together. And if you do remember, Bray Wyatt has been having his revenge tour, getting wins back from people he shouldn't have lost to. When he was just Bray Wyatt, he got the whole world in his hands, Bray Wyatt. So now he wants his revenge on Randy Orton because if you remember WrestleMania 34, that build up when Randy Orton was in the Wyatt family, then he literally blew up their house, burned it to the ground, and was in that awful WrestleMania 34 match with Bray. With I don't even remember what they called that.
House of Horrors match.
House of Horrors match, and they were changing what was on the ring. That was god awful bad, just because the graphics were terrible, and Randy beat him for the title. So we got potentially 3 people coming at Randy Orton. So what do we do with this, Jacob? Who gets the first rematch? Is it something we just throw them all at TLC, or one of them gets them at the Rumble? Does Miz actually cash in?
So if I'm fantasy booking this, I'm going to have Drew McIntyre get the first match with Randy. And I wouldn't have him win. Now, I predicted a few podcasts ago that I think Randy is going to face Edge at Mania.
Correct. Yes, you do.
I still think that's going to happen. The question is, does he do it for the title or not? Because does Edge want to come back and do a full-time run with the title, or does he pull a Brock Lesnar and just show up once a month? I don't know. But I do know I love the Fiend in this storyline. I think him and Alexa, I think what they're doing is great. I see, for those who do not know, I've been a cult follower of Bray Wyatt since he first came out in NXT with the whole follow the buzzards gimmick. I loved it. I still love it. This with the Fiend and Alexa, oh, this is money. This is my favorite thing about Raw. Everything else I'm not a fan of. But Bray Wyatt, oh, I'm a huge fan. So, but at the same time, Bray's so over, I don't even think he needs the title. I'd love to see him get the title, but I don't think he needs it.
There's a lot of ways this can go. I know you shared to me Survivor Series this year is the same date, same arena, 10 years apart from when The Miz cashed in on Randy Orton.
That's right.
The same place, same day, and history may repeat itself. He may cash in on a Randy Drew. Never mind, he can't cash in on Randy Drew in Survivor Series, because Survivor Series is actually Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But the way that they could avoid both of them losing would be a Miz cash in. And that would be very, very interesting. The thing with Alexa and Bray, it's working really well, which I would have liked also now is a reversal of roles, because if you remember, Alexa was trying to get Braun Strowman, like, what happened to you ever since him and Bray had that match? And then Braun literally just dropped her like a sack of potatoes. But now she's the crazy one with Bray to get Braun in something like, what happened to you? You were trying to save me from the Fiend. Now I'm trying to save you. Some reversal type thing to add to the storyline. I personally think Bray and Alexa are both going to be champions by the end of the Royal Rumble.
I like it. I like it. Now, also, do we get, because, Charlotte's going to be coming back soon.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
When Charlotte comes back, they're going to throw the title on her, because that's just what they do.
Yep.
Do they give Charlotte the title, and then do we get like a Fiend cult Alexa Bliss? Like, I almost want to call her broken, but that's not correct. Do we get that type of Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte at Mania? Because that'd be a good match.
It would be. It's funny too, because Alexa Bliss recently said in an interview the only thing she wants left to accomplish wise in WWE is to main event a WrestleMania. And I was talking to some of my other friends, and Alexa Bliss is really good. She's a good worker. She's a better talker. But she's not main eventing any WrestleMania unless it involves one of the 4 horsewomen or Asuka. That's just facts. Like, it's just the way it is. The only shot she would have is if it's against one of those 4, or Asuka, or if she ever came back, Ronda Rousey. But if it's against one of those 6 women, she's losing. She's not gonna win. That's my thing. I would like, if Alexa Bliss wins, if she beats Asuka at the Royal Rumble for the title, and Bray beats Randy Orton for the title. That probably comes into Charlotte winning the Rumble again, potentially, even though she doesn't need to. Her challenge Bliss, but then Bliss actually goes over because she has her own Fiend mode. And depending on what happens baby-wise, we could be talking about a main event match of Fiend Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch to try and get the title she never lost.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be money.
Because she is due this year. I don't expect her back at the Rumble unless she wants to come back. But then I'm pretty sure she has to get in shape. But she wouldn't even have to come back to the Rumble to face Alexa Bliss. If she could show up by March, they can have that match at WrestleMania.
Yep, the crowd would love it. Everyone would love it.
Yeah, because even with Becky coming back, it's not a foregone conclusion she would win the title. If Flair came back and took on Fiend Alexa Bliss, oh, it's over for her. And then there's no coming back.
Nope, because she'll bury her.
And then Fiend Bray Wyatt with the title going into Mania, that's money. You have a lot of different options you could do on Raw who would be able to do that. And another option, you brought up Edge and Randy Orton, and I agree that it's going to happen in Mania. You could do something that Edge shows up at one of these pay-per-views and cost Randy the title.
Yep, very easily.
Randy loses the title, but you still have that big marquee match of Randy and Edge. So that way you're not taking the title into a match where you're like, there's no way Edge is going to do a championship run at his current state. And Randy's just going to win. So that's a way to get it off of him without hurting Randy booking-wise and still have that mega match for the trilogy. But now go back to SmackDown. The Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, maintained at Hell in a Cell. It was the first match of Hell in a Cell. It was actually a really good match. Jey Uso showed a lot of things that he could do single competitor-wise. It was an I Quit Hell in a Cell match. The way Roman got Jey to quit, Jimmy came out, he just beat the dog shit out of him. And then Jey said, I quit to help his brother. And I know you're not the biggest fan of Roman, and me, I've had a lot of issues with him. But right now, this Tribal Chief stuff is, a lot of fans are really liking it, where they're going with this storyline.
I never thought I'd ever say these words. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan, and I am the biggest Roman hater possible out there, I feel like. But damn, the way he's doing everything, I'm like, oh, well, this is why we all wanted him to turn heel years ago.
Yes.
Because he's so good as a heel. Like, everything he's doing is just gold. Mm-hmm. I like the SmackDown after Hell in a Cell when he's just talking down to Roman in such an authoritarian tone, and just like, you're gonna have to make up your mind by the end of the night. You know, the way he said it was just so good and just so solid. And you're just like, damn, he is the big dog. And I hate that I'm saying that. I hate myself for doing such a thing, but damn, is it good.
When Jey came out and like at that point too, and when Jey was like, I hate you, I was like, holy shit, I hate him too. Let's go, Jey, because this is pissing me off. And then Roman's like, I know you do. But then he's like, you'll get over it. You're going to have to fall in line. I was like, oh my, sweet Lana. And it's the fact that with Paul Heyman there as the special counsel, he's not even talking. He's just literally a special counsel. And by the end of that night, when Jay's like, I understand. And then he starts beating Daniel Bryan to a pulp. So then what I'm looking at there without Jay falling whenever Jimmy comes back, Jimmy falling in line. Jacob, it looks like we called this a couple podcasts ago.
It's happening.
It's happening. We said, I don't know which podcast, it was a ways back, so you have to go back and look at them. But we said when Roman came back and did this, we talked about a Samoan staple of heels with Roman, Jimmy and Jey Uso, we did say get the girls in that, which may happen, but it's not looking like that. But definitely the boys. So it's really happening. And you could potentially see something where the tribal chief and the Usos have all the belts on SmackDown soon. I think that's where it's going to go.
Oh, it's definitely going that way. Let's see, the SmackDown title holders are the Street Profits right now.
Which are good baby faces. Love them.
Yep. Everybody's a fan. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't like the Street Profits.
Hmm?
I think they're more redefined Crime Time. But man, they're going to take the titles off them. It's going to the Usos, and you're going to just have the Samoan bloodline, the Samoan SWAT team. It's happening. It's going to be great, and everybody's going to enjoy it, except the kids, which I'm fine with. I do not care about the kids.
I mean, we called this first before anyone else, so it all depends on when Jimmy gets back. He'll probably come back and say, "Jay, what happened to you?" Jay will say, "I saw the light. I understand." I mean, shoot, at the Hell in a Cell, they had both their freaking dads out there putting the thing over Roman like, yep, this is it. So sooner or later, I mean, I came to a point at Hell in a Cell where I tweeted The Rock. I was like, "So you going to come get your cousin? He's out of line." So
and that's going to be Mania. And you know what? I said it before, I'm going to hate it, whatever, but it'll make money. I might end up even liking it. Seriously, if they're going to do this angle with the way Roman's going, I'll probably enjoy it, which, once again, I hate myself for saying such things. I don't like it.
I mean, it's everyone fall in line. I mean, it's just the fact I know you just don't like him because he has been the pain of anyone you've liked existence. Braun Strowman, one Spirit lose title. Bray Wyatt, one Spirit lose title. So he's just taken out anyone you've ever liked.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
But sooner or later, now with him being a heel, someone's going to come for him. We don't know who.
I'm falling in line, quote unquote. Everybody's falling in line.
To the tribal chief. Next pay-per-view WWE has is Survivor Series. It's one of the big 4 pay-per-views. It's when SmackDown goes against Raw. We have Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. We have Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. We have New Day versus Crime Time. They're getting the 5-on-5 teams set up. We talked about it 2 podcasts ago that they needed to have NXT in the Survivor Series again, because last year, the first year they were in, was probably one of the best Survivor Series I've seen in recent memory.
Yep.
And this year, they don't have NXT. Jacob, what are they thinking not having NXT at Survivor Series?
I don't know. I think they just like to piss me off. I think that's the simplest answer. What's Jake Mason wanna? What does he want? Let's do the opposite. Yeah, why, guys? But I don't know why they're not having NXT. Now, I did read on the dirt sheets or whatnot that Vince McMahon officially does not want NXT to be recognized as a third brand. They want NXT to be the developmental brand again. So I'm not sure if that's why. I'm not sure if it's because they're trying to keep people separated from COVID or what the situation is. I really don't know. Because I know WWE is taking some heat right now from the city of Orlando for possibly being a big exposure of COVID or a super spreader or whatever they're calling it now. At the Thunderdome, which I don't really understand because it's all just monitors and minimal people. But, okay, whatever. I have no idea why they're not having NXT. NXT should be on there. I don't understand it. I just don't.
Agreed. Last year, when they invaded SmackDown because some of the stars were still stuck in Saudi Arabia, that was from that SmackDown all the way to Survivor Series, because you had War Games before. It was one of the best runs WWE week to week wise it had in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole going against Seth Rollins at the time, beating Daniel Bryan, Shayna Baszler coming in, going against. That's how you had the Shayna Becky Lynch feud even start before she even got to the main roster. So
Ciampa versus Miz.
Ciampa versus Miz, there was just matches galore. Then you had the Raw superstars coming to NXT, fighting them over there. Then Survivor Series, NXT winning everything except for the 5-on-5 men, and the 5-on-5 men was Roman Reigns versus freaking Keith Lee in the final, and everyone's seeing like, oh, this guy Keith Lee's hanging with our top guy. This guy can. So they're really missing the opportunity on that. Is there any match so far that interests you at Survivor Series?
Not particularly. I'd say like honestly, like what's a huge disappointment to me, other than NXT not being part of Survivor Series, is the fact we're not getting Retribution versus the Hurt Business with Lana. I'm really upset about that.
I am okay with that. I am perfectly fine that we did say a couple times that potentially might happen, and God said, nope, we cannot have that because you guys have already been through enough with those people. So I'm glad.
So you better be happy WWE listens to this podcast and they hear what I want and they just don't do it. So I'm pretty sure I'm the reason they're not doing it, Martin. So you're welcome, buddy.
Well, it's two swords. You're the reason they're not doing it, but I'm still the reason that Rey Mysterio in the story. What the hell can you do when it comes to that? I think for me, the possibilities of the Roman Randy finish. Because if Miz tries to cash in, or if the Fiend intervenes, or Edge intervenes, that stuff will spark my interest.
Yeah.
Because then we're just building towards WrestleMania. All right, guys. You already know, me and Jacob have been following and giving you guys the full details of the third-party ban ever since it came into fruition on the dirt sheets and the rumor mill. And we've been giving you guys the most informed updates that you can get on this ban. And now, the ban's in effect. It's really in effect. Like, it's happening. We were talking about one of the big Twitch streamers in wrestling is AJ Styles. AJ Styles, Paige, who's still a WWE employee, had a video of her crying about suspending her Twitch account because this was the only way that she could relate to fans since she overworked her body for WWE and can't compete. So this thing is really happening right now, and there's constant rumors and all that stuff about superstars going to Vince, saying like, yo, you got to take this off. This isn't right. Jacob, when you saw those two, who are two big Twitch streamers, saying, yeah, we have to do this, that means everyone's falling in line. What do you think that is actually in effect?
I don't understand it. I genuinely don't. Because it's all kicked off because, of course, Mr. Save Your Balls, Mustafa Ali, and your bestie, Lana, this whole entire storyline kicked off with them. And why those two just weren't punished, I don't know, because this is screwed with all their side hustle. And it sucks. You want to create superstars, like you hit it on the head a podcast or two ago. You want to create superstars so they go out and they do this stuff and interact with the fans, and they make money doing it. And they're not doing it like they're not hurting anybody by doing it. They're just playing video games and talking wrestling, and everybody likes it.
Mm-hmm.
So I still don't understand why they did it. They could have just made like a set of rules, like, hey, don't talk about this, or, hey, watch doing this. Like, hey, don't, show off your assets, Lana. And hey, Mustafa, please don't, Mr. Save Your Balls. Don't save your balls in the middle of catering at a WWE event. Like, come on. Like, I don't get it. I felt so bad, though, for Paige. When I watched a video and, like, somebody transcribed it, it's all over the internet now. And it's just sad because Paige doesn't wrestle. She's not a manager anymore. She's not shit. She's just a person. Because I got asked by, Hannah and a couple friends, like, oh, hey, like, what do you think? I'm like, what would you do if you're Paige? I'm like, I'd sit there, I'd collect that paycheck, and then once my contract's up, I'd be gone. Like, you know what? Screw it. If they're not going to use you, but they're still going to pay you, sweet. I'll take the money, and then afterwards, I'll go to AEW. I'll go to Ring of Honor. I'll go to New Japan. I'll go to TNA. I'll go wherever the wind blows me. You know, I felt so bad for Paige because that is the only way she's interacting with her fans, and she's not hurting anybody. She's not doing anything wrong. Like, yes, Paige has had her shit in the past, but what has Paige done recently? Paige hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree with Paige. I think Paige was the thing that I was just like, wow, this really does stink. Because Paige stuff in the past, which I've been hard on Paige, I think she was probably my first Lana before Lana. But Paige is a significantly better wrestler, more accomplished than Lana. But she was making really stupid personal decisions that were affecting her money in wrestling, a la the on again, off again relationship with Alberto Del Rio, which had alleged domestic violence and things like that. Obviously, the leaked sex tape with Xavier Woods, things of that nature that she has had, and obviously talking about Charlotte's dead brother who committed suicide, bringing that into a storyline where she should have just said, no, I'm not doing this. But she's right. It's the only way she can connect with fans. She's not on TV every week. She's not going to, well, no one's going to signings right now. And the fact that they're taking it away because of a couple people's mistake is terrible. I don't know when potentially they look into legal lawyers, legal ramifications of that. Or I really just think that with Vince, I don't know who's talking to him superstar wise. I don't know if these people can get Triple H or Stephanie or anyone of that high stature to talk to Vince on their behalf. I think that's the next step. I also think that if you get the big guns, you get a Taker to talk on their behalf, you get an Austin. There's no way in hell this would have been going on if Dwayne was in the company. No way. So if you maybe get a Dwayne or even a John Cena, someone big to really talk to. I know I've said this before, but I don't know who's talking to Vince, and that needs to be addressed, or they might have to look at some legal action or something. But then you have a big Superstars versus WWE real life storyline, and shoot, Vince might welcome it because it brings more viewers to WWE.
Now, do you think WWE is just going to have like their own like streaming thing on like YouTube? Or like they're going to have their own type of Twitch?
I think potentially. I know Xavier Woods has the up, down, down channel, which WWE has promoted a lot in the past. So I don't know if they're going to try and do something with that because it's just extra money that they'll be missing out on. So I don't know. I know a lot of these athletes, especially the women, they model for like, I know Mandy Rose is big with Fashion Nova. Same with Lana. I don't know. I haven't checked any of their Instagrams to see if they've posted anything recently about those, but I think WWE is just they're thinking too hard on this. They're going way too hard. They're going to lose people. When they start losing really good talent of this because of this band, then they're going to backtrack. But then again, with them doing that, I want to talk about, I would shift just because it relates to this, Cody Rhodes, who he's about to get his name back from WWE. So it makes no sense that they're doing this third-party ban. But then they're like, oh, Cody Rhodes, you can have your name back. What did you think when you saw that news about Cody getting his name back?
About freaking time.
Yes.
Holy shit. Like, why they even held on to it, I have no idea. Like, Cody Finnett, you know, I know they're not happy that Cody left and did his own thing, then just started his own company. Why they didn't do this earlier, I think it was petty. I think it was super petty.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're opening it up now, I think the trademark ends on I forget what day it's going to end on, but or they're dropping it. But yeah, so Cody's going to get it. Good for him. I'm very happy for him. He deserves it. He should have, you know, never lost it in the first place, but things happen.
Right. And then also with WWE too doing a terrible thing with the third party ban, then a good thing with the Cody Rhodes thing, but it's finally. Then also saying that all their forlorn, whatever the word is, employees,
Furlough?
yeah, they're all coming back in December. And we made the joke, well, most of them went to AEW, so it's not like they're just going to walk back.
Right. So you're going to have. I mean, see, I'm not sure if that just means for the wrestlers or all the people who like work in the offices and stuff. I don't know what the deal is with that, but for the wrestlers, if we get a couple wrestlers back, good. I'm glad. You know, I was furloughed a few times this year. I know how much that sucks. But you know, who's going to come back?
I mean, you could have the full Riot Squad back.
See, no, you can't because Sarah Logan's pregnant.
Yeah, that's true.
And she's hanging out up in Northern Ohio, just hanging out doing her own YouTube thing now on, was it Free and Wild TV that her and her husband do together.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't even think she wants to come back. I think she's just happy the way she is.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on that. And then just the third-party ban, just to go back, it's such a big thing because I don't know who's in these wrestlers' corners and who are their confidants, but then you have some real idiots out there. Example, Zelina Vega. This third-party ban, Paige is out here crying her eyes out about having to shut down her Twitch because of this third-party ban. But Zelina Vega is opened up an OnlyFans account, which is a lot worse than Twitch, trying to sell $100 pictures or whatever. What the hell is she thinking?
Well, we were both wrong because if you remember, you asked the question. You're like, who opens up a OnlyFans first? And I said Lana. This is going to be Lana, no doubt. It's Lana. Sure shit, it's Zelina Vega. Didn't see that one coming. But yeah, so she's selling $100 body paint pics. So, if she had to have cleared it with WWE?
No,
there's no other way.
No.
She had to. Now, do you think like WWE is going to get like $50 for every buy? They'll just split it 50-50?
If she went to Vince McMahon's old near 80, whatever how old he is, and said, I'm opening up an OnlyFans, and he's like, well, what's that? And then she has to sit there and explain to him, and they approve that, and they're getting a piece of that. And honestly, then you don't have to post pictures on OnlyFans. You can do whatever you want. Everyone should just go put their content on OnlyFans if Vince is letting that happen.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm sure WWE is getting a cut. I have no doubt in my mind. They have to.
Well,
because they'd already have this shut down by now if they didn't.
Well, we'll know if they approve this or not, or they're just finding out the way we did, because Zelina Vega and Aleister Black will become jobbers for the rest of the year if this is true. So, before we get to my special friend, let's hit up some AEW. Jacob, what's going on in AEW right now?
All right, so AEW, let's see. We're all getting set up for Full Gear.
Okay.
That's the pay-per-view coming up. So we have, let's see, what is happening in Full Gear? Well, we're going to have Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley in an I Quit match, which the build to this has been very good. It has like a really personal like feel to it. That, I mean, they're selling the storyline just great. So that's going to be good.
Jon Moxley has really become a leader at AEW. Like, I didn't see Dean Ambrose being that type of leader in WWE, but I guess he never had the shot. But he's become a real leader over there.
Yeah, and Eddie Kingston, I love seeing him like on TV. I think that is awesome. I think he's a great wrestler. He was asked about, being a coach at NXT before. And, he gambled on himself and he said, no, like I'm going to keep being a wrestler, and he's doing it and I'm happy for him. But that storyline's been good. I'm excited to see what happens. Now, the biggest thing with Eddie Kingston, because he's got his whole crew there that has the Lucha Brothers and the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny. I'm trying to think who else is part of that. Whoever else. But Pac is coming back tonight.
Yeah, that's big.
On AEW. So the big question is, before I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'm pretty 99% sure it's just the COVID stuff. But so Pac hasn't been on TV in months. And before he left, just abruptly, him and the Lucha Brothers formed their crew called Death Triangle. I believe it was Death Triangle. And they were just killing it. COVID hits, Pac goes on his way and hasn't been seen in months. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens tonight with him, because Pac on AEW is not the... Oh, what was his name in NXT?
Neville.
Yeah, Neville. Yeah, I mean, it's two completely different people. So that's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen there. If he's going to try and get the Lucha Brothers back, or if he's going to join Eddie, or if he's just going to do his solo act, I'm not exactly sure. Also, for Full Gear, we're going to have Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page for the number one contendership.
Now, is this a number one contendership for Jon Moxley's title or for Cody Rhodes' title?
For Jon Moxley's title.
Okay.
For the AEW heavyweight title. So whoever wins the that match will face either Kenny Omega or Hangman Page. Now, that being said, so Kenny has pretty much changed his character because the Elite's no longer the Elite. Everyone's just doing their own thing now. Kenny's coming out and he's basically teasing just being like the ultimate cleaner, like he was in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming out and you'll have Justin Roberts is having like a 2-minute entire intro to like all his accomplishments and stuff he's done. And it's entertaining. I'm excited to see where this goes, because heel Kenny Omega is great. Like, I mean, I know I always say it. I'm a sucker for all the heels. I love it. Who else? What else? The Young Bucks are going to face FTR. Now, those who do not know or who do not watch AEW, FTR is the Revival from WWE.
Yep.
And everybody's been wanting this match. We've been wanting this match since before the Revival left WWE. We wanted to watch the match. I mean, it went back and forth on Instagram, Twitter, Being the Elite, YouTube, everything. I mean, that was... both were taking shots at each other. Because the whole thing started with... Cody technically started this storyline years ago with F the Revival. And that became a thing. Then WWE hit him with a cease and desist on that, along with all their other cease and desist stuff they got. Mm-hmm. So that's we're finally getting the match. We're going to get the Bucks versus FTR for the tag team titles, and it's going to be great. Honestly, that match, I bet that match could headline the pay-per-view.
Oh, absolutely. Half of me, since with all the build-up years in the making, which if they use all, like when they make those promo packages and use all the Instagram posts and tweets, they could potentially maybe it should be the main match of that night. And it's going to be something really, really good. AEW is doing some real good stuff over there. And we say time and time again, if they can only get that women's division and they can only better that up, it'd be top to bottom the best promotion in the world.
Yeah. What else is happening? We also have Cody Rhodes is going to face Darby Allin for the TNT title. And that's just going to be a good match.
I'm still feuding with Orange, whatever his name is.
No, that's right. God, that's something else. So Jericho is facing MJF.
Yes, MJF.
Now, if MJF wins, he gets in Jericho's crew, the Inner Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And if he loses, he does not. So the segment and it caught a lot of flack from a lot of wrestling fans. They had the musical number where MJF and Jericho were singing at the steak dinner they had. And I thought it was great. I was laughing. Actually, if that was MJF singing, damn, he can actually sing his ass off. Like I loved it. I was a fan. Oh, and something else to backtrack here. If the Young Bucks do not beat FTR, they will not challenge for the titles again. I forgot to mention that.
Ever again, which we'll see, because a lot of people say they'll never challenge for something ever again, and then 4 months later, we're back.
But I mean, Cody said that back in the beginning of AEW. He was facing Jericho for the title, and he said, "If I lose, I won't challenge for it again." And so far, he's kept his word, and he's just running with the TNT title, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
He's making that title worth something.
That's true. That's true.
Job AEW, making your mid card titles mean something.
Well, I really don't think WWE's done that since Cena's last full-time run with the U.S. Open Challenge.
Yep, it hasn't. It's been nothing, which is sad because the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title, they actually mean something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I despise the fact that they don't make those titles actually prestigious anymore. And also, good job to AEW, because they had this tournament for the number one contender, and like it actually feels like it means something.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime and we've talked about WWE doing the whole having a tournament to see who's going to be your number one contender, like New Japan does.
Mm-hmm.
But why on earth? Like, why can't WWE have like a number one contendership match of something that actually means anything?
Right. No, I agree. Number one contender matches come few and hard in between that they mean a lot. I'm trying to think. Recent memory makes me go all the way back. If you remember that legendary number one contender title match in Dallas American Airlines Arena, Cena and Punk, where they went into overtime and Punk actually pile drivered Cena. That's the last real big number one contender match, which was on Raw. It was on live TV, and they went over the time. They went 30 plus minutes on Raw. And those are the type of matches I think you mean. Like, okay, they're really going at it because they really want to go at the champion. Those are the type of matches you want to see. But neither here nor there. When is the pay-per-view, Jacob?
Oh God, give me a second here. I'll have to double check. I'll tell you one wrong. It will be on November 7th, so it's this weekend.
This weekend, that's right. Well, we're going to have to keep our eyes on that and see what goes from there. But we've come to the end of the podcast, and there's one person we still haven't talked about, which now we savor to the end.
Yes!
And it is, I wish we had some bells and whistles for this. It is Lana time.
Ding, 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 ding. Let's go.
Lana right now is on an unprecedented streak in WWE history. It potentially will be never duplicated, replicated ever again. It might be when we're all old, comparing this streak to the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. If she gets enough of this in a row, Undertaker's 21 now at WrestleMania. And currently, Lana is 7 weeks straight getting put through a table.
Yes.
Lana is on the Survivor Series team. When she won, I don't know if I know they were doing their thing, but when you saw the look on like Peyton Royce's face and the other women who were in that match, they were like, really? They picked her to win this match. And her team doesn't even congratulate her. They put her through a table. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler have been putting this woman through a table for over a month now. It's almost comical. You're expecting it now. We watched Raw on Monday, and we're just like, so when's Lana getting put through a table? Because we expect it. She has been the catalyst. We've already talked about the third-party ban, and she still has a job. But she just keeps getting put through a table after table after table. I don't know why she stays. I don't just understand why she quits. She's not contributing anything to the main roster in any way. If you're talking about looks, there are people who look as comparable as her or even better. If we're talking about in-ring ability, we're not talking about in-ring ability. She's terrible. So if I'm her, I don't know why she just stayed. I don't know why she's staying. Unless they're saying, hey, you got to, as Triple H said a long time ago during the Madison Square Garden curtain crawl, when he was the one who had to do it, you have to eat shit and like it. And that is what's going on with Lana. But there's no way she's getting a title shot after this. So I don't know what she's doing. She just sucks. And she's caused so many issues. If I'm a real wrestler, I'd probably get suspended because we'd have to shoot Russell in the back for all the bad things you've done with this third party band.
I for one think Lana is the most entertaining part of WWE next to Bray Wyatt. And the other reason I say that is because every 2 weeks when we get on here, I get minimal a 5-minute segment of you going on about Lana, and it's the best thing. It's so good.
It's so frustrating because again, we've already said if she was half a good wrestler, she'd probably be champion for like 2 years straight just because of her looks. But it's frustrating with her because, and then she goes on Instagram and posting these pictures with Mysterio, acting like life is good. Girl, people can't even post on Instagram tagging a company anymore because of you. Like, you literally cost people some of their livelihood, and you haven't apologized. You just, when that first came out, you're like, oh, it wasn't because of me. Yes, it was. You wanted to join Bang Energy. Ugh. She's terrible. But, what can you do? Survivor Series, she's either going to be the first one out in 10 seconds or she's going to somehow be the last survivor and still put through a table.
What if she ends up just putting someone through a table?
I don't even know if Lana has the physical strength to put someone through a table.
Oh, it'd be great.
She would botch that so bad, I'd probably have to turn off the TV. Because I don't know who she could physically pick up and put through a table on that roster.
Nikki Cross.
Yeah, Nikki Cross is short. Maybe. We'll see. But that's all I have on her because, she just keeps providing us more content.
Oh, yeah. She's the equivalent to the Rey Mysterio storyline where I'm sick of it. I don't even want to watch it. But boy, it just provides pure content every time. Every time you see her on Instagram, on TV, it doesn't matter. It's all content.
Yeah, it's terrible. But, CJ Perry, we'll be watching. You provide great stuff. So always know you'll have a spot on our channel until you get involved in the Rey Mysterio storyline. Because who knows? Then we're really done with you guys. Jacob, man, you got anything else you want to say before we sign out today?
Yeah, I got 2 quick things I want to throw out here real quick. Sure. Number one, shout out to Justin for the awesome wedding gift of telling everybody go listen to our podcast here because I'm number one.
You're back on top.
I am back on top. I still believe I still got 3 out of the 5.
Yes.
All right. So hey, Justin, thank you, and shout out to all the listeners, the listeners of the wrestling podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it without you guys, and girls and whoever. Awesome. Thank you. Keep it up. I want to block out the top 5. That's the goal. That's the end goal.
That's the goal, to block out the top 5. He has 3 spots right now. Are you trying to get this goal before 2020 is over, or is that going to be your 2021 goal?
I'll just take it whenever. I'm not picky. Listen, the fact that I got back to number 1, I'm good. I'm good.
You heard the man. He wants to have the whole top 5, and the only way to have the whole top 5 is to listen to all the wrestling podcasts on the L7C podcast. I mean, they're every 2 weeks. They're the most consistent one because they're every 2 weeks. So, you know what to do. Listen to it.
Absolutely.
Tell your friends. If you know anyone who likes wrestling, get them onto the L7C podcast wrestling edition.
For sure. Get on that. Seriously, though, shout out Justin. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
And he'll be hearing that when he goes through this and edits it. But besides that, let's end that on a good note, shouting out the producer and not talking about CJ Perry. So with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Thank you again, Jacob, for being our wrestling expert and breaking down everything in wrestling that's happened every 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks will be before Survivor Series, so we can actually give our predictions on the card. We can talk about Full Gear because that would be over. Hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have a War Games preview too. So be looking forward to that in 2 weeks with the man Jacob.
Absolutely. And once again, thanks for having me on, Martin. I love it.
No problem, man. Like I always say, when you're just sitting with virtually talking to your guys about wrestling, there's nothing really we can keep going for hours on end, but Anchor won't let us keep going for hours on end about wrestling. So
no.
But that's it, guys. Thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.